Warning lights bathed the cockpit in a rhythmic crimson pulse, syncing perfectly with the frantic beat of Officer Zyler's hearts. Outside the ferro-glass canopy, the void wasn't empty. It was a screaming kaleidoscope of plasma fire and debris. "Stabilizers are gone. We're spinning out," Zyler roared, his forehands flying across the holographic console, trying to wrestle the commandeered freighter back into alignment. "Chill, Lixi. I've got the vector," a voice cracked over the comms, maddeningly calm. "I just need to calculate the drift. If gravity is 9.8, carry the 2. Zyler looked through the viewport at the ship flying wingman to his own. It was a rusted garbage scow, flying with the grace of a starfighter. At the controls sat the source of all his current migraines. "Zoe, that is a hunter-killer squadron. You are flying a waste disposal unit." "It's all just physics, Zyler," she replied, throwing her ship into a barrel roll that shouldn't have been aerodynamically possible, dodging a lethal volley of laser fire. "Besides, I have a math test tomorrow. I can't die, or my GPA tanks." Zyler watched in horror and awe as the garbage scow deployed its magnetic clamps, catching an enemy drone and flinging it into the path of another. Humans, the galaxy's creative problem solvers. He realized then that the dossier had been right, though he had misread the warning. Maximum threat level high school junior. 6 hours earlier, the Void Vault had been silent, a pristine monolith of interstellar justice orbiting a dying star. Officer Zyler stood before the heavy containment airlock, reviewing the transfer manifest on his datapad. The glowing text chilled his blue blood. Species, human. Classification, apocalypse class. Crimes, classified. The alien bureaucracy was notoriously slow, but they rarely sent anyone to the Void Vault unless they were capable of leveling cities. "Prepare for high-gravity restraints," Zyler barked to the security team. "Lethal force authorized at the slightest provocation." The massive blast doors hissed open, venting white steam. The guards raised their plasma rifles, trembling slightly. The smoke cleared. Standing in the center of the containment circle was not a hulking brute or a cybernetic warlord. It was a person of slight stature, wearing a denim jacket and oversized headphones. She was clutching a plastic container of sushi in one hand and a textbook in the other. Zoe blinked, looking up at the 10-foot-tall guards. "Hi, is this the Remedial Drivers Ed Center? My GPS is acting super weird." Zyler lowered his weapon, his antennae twitching in confusion. You are the prisoner? I mean, technically, I'm a detainee until proven guilty," Zoe said, popping a spicy tuna roll into her mouth. "Also, I need Wi-Fi. I have algebra homework due at midnight Galactic Standard Time." Zyler stared. The most dangerous thing in the prison was the girl with the backpack. Processing was a nightmare of paperwork. Zoe didn't resist. She critiqued. She pointed out the inefficiencies in the intake protocol and corrected the spell check on Zyler's holopad. By the time they reached the general population sector, a vast gleaming atrium of polished steel and hard light, Zyler was exhausted. "Do not engage the other inmates," Zyler warned. "The Crag triplets run this sector. They eat titanium for fun." "Noted," Zoe said, her eyes scanning the room, analyzing structural weak points and camera angles with terrifying speed. "Educational priority. Survive until third period." She sat at an empty table, opening her book. Immediately, 3 shadows fell over her. The Crag triplets, massive, chitinous beetles with temper issues, loomed. "Fresh meat," the leader hissed, a sound like grinding gears. Zoe didn't look up. "Actually, I'm mostly water and anxiety. You'd get indigestion." The leader slammed a claw onto the table, cracking the steel. "You mock us, soft skin?" Zoe closed her book, the snap echoing through the sudden hush of the cafeteria. She looked up, not with fear, but with the cold, analytical gaze of a tactician. This was the HFY factor Zyler had read about, the ability to turn underestimated disadvantages into weapons. "I'm not mocking you," Zoe said, her voice projecting clearly. "I'm diagnosing you. That aggressive posture, it compensates for a lack of lateral mobility. If I kicked your third joint, you'd topple like a domino. Psychological warfare isn't about being louder, it's about knowing where it hurts." The Crag roared and lunged. Zoe didn't move. She didn't have to. The facility's alarms blared, turning the white lights to a flashing amber. The gravity generators stuttered. "Riot protocol engaged," a computerized voice announced. Zoe smiled, tapping the table where the crag had cracked it, revealing a hidden glint of circuitry underneath. Or maybe I just needed a distraction to expose that unauthorized transmitter you guys were hiding under the table. It wasn't a riot, it was a setup, and the real enemy was just arriving. The cafeteria walls had barely stopped vibrating from the explosion when the mercenary breach pods slammed into the docking bay. The transmitter Zoe had exposed wasn't just a spy device, it was a homing beacon for the Void Stalkers, a private army looking to break the crag out. But the crag didn't want to be broken out by rivals. They wanted revenge. "Okay, listen up," Zoe yelled over the screech of alarms, standing on the cafeteria table. "If those mercenaries breach the hull, we all get sucked out. I don't know about you, but I didn't study for a vacuum test." To the hangar. Now, back in the cockpit of the garbage scow, the reality of that decision was hitting 4Gs. "Zoe!" Zyler shouted over the comms, his freighter taking a plasma burn to the port engine. "The flagship is charging its main cannon. We need an exit strategy." "I don't do exits, Zyler. I do unexpected variables," Zoe replied. Her hands moved in a blur. "Crag 1, Crag 2. On my mark, dump your cargo hoppers. We are warriors, not sanitation workers," the crag leader bellowed from his stolen mining skiff. "Do it, or I tell everyone you sleep with a nightlight," Zoe threatened. The unlikely alliance held. The crag released tons of crystallized waste and scrap metal into the void between the defenders and the mercenary flagship. "Sensors are confused," Zyler noted, watching his readouts scramble. "But that won't stop a kinetic strike." "It's not a shield," Zoe muttered, her eyes narrowing as she watched the targeting reticle turn red. "It's a lens." She slammed the thrusters. The scow shot forward, diving straight into the cloud of debris. "Zyler, ignite the gas vents on the debris field. Now! That will cause a chain reaction." "That's the point." "Tactical improvisation," Zyler fired. The superheated plasma from his engines ignited the volatile waste gases trapped in the debris cloud. The space between them and the mercenaries erupted into a blinding wall of superheated, expanding light. It wasn't an explosion meant to destroy, it was a flare meant to blind. The mercenary flagship's thermal sensors overloaded. Their targeting systems shrieked and locked onto the heat bloom the debris field itself. "Pull up," Zoe commanded. The flagship fired its main cannon. The blast decimated the debris cloud, vaporizing the empty space where Zoe and Zyler had been seconds ago. The recoil sent the flagship spinning, exposing its unshielded engine block. "Now, dogfight protocol," Zoe yelled. The inmate squadron swarmed. It was a chaotic ballet of mining skiffs and loaders, but under Zoe's direction it was a symphony of interstellar justice. They disabled the flagship's engines with surgical precision. The mercenaries, blind and crippled, powered down their weapons. Silence returned to the void save for the hum of cooling thrusters. Zyler sat back in his pilot's chair, his four hearts thundering in unison. He looked at the scow hovering off his wing. It was scorched and dented, but victorious. "Zoe," Zyler said, his voice filled with a newfound respect, "that was statistically improbable. That was geometry, Zyler, angles and velocity." Her voice suddenly pitched up an octave. "Oh no. What? Are there more reinforcements?" Zyler grabbed the controls, panic rising. "No! Look at the time! It's 7:45 a.m. Earth Standard!" Zoe screamed. "If I miss first period, Mr. Mackin." "Henderson won't let me make up the test. He says tardiness is a sign of moral decay." The warden stood on the command deck of the repaired void vault. The mercenaries were in containment. The Craig triplets were back in their cells, though they now possessed a strange, grudging respect for the small human. "In light of your actions," the warden boomed, looking down at Zoe, "and the fact that you saved the facility using refuse and SAS, your record is expunged. You are free to go." Zyler handed Zoe her backpack. He looked at the girl who had turned a prison riot into a tactical victory. He realized that courage versus Fear wasn't about size. It was about acting when everything told you to freeze. You are a terrifying species, Zyler said, offering a salute. Thanks, Sykes, Zy grinned, shouldering her bag. If you ever need help doing your taxes or overthrowing a warlord, call me. But not on a school night. She sprinted toward the shuttle. Go! 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 Educational priority is at maximum. As the shuttle streaked away into the stars, leaving a trail of blue ion fire, Zyler shook his head. He pitied the math teacher. He had no idea what kind of force of nature was walking into his classroom.